All right, just waiting for the computer to catch up here. We are almost there. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Dennis Stoika with Modern Era Warriors. Today, we are with a very, very special guest. We are so lucky to have Brian Iron Ed Hiner here today with us. Decorated Navy SEAL veteran, officer with more than 20 years of distinguished service. Amongst the most experienced trainers in SEAL history, having trained and qualified thousands of Navy SEALs as Navy Special Warfare Training Officers. The recipient of 2 Bronze Stars with V for Valor in Combat, featured on Ken Blanchard's Leaning at a Higher Level and Dick Couch's Sheriffs of Ramadi. Ed attended Virginia Commonwealth University, by the way, on a baseball scholarship for those of us here, right, where our business is out in the Virginias, West Virginia and Virginia. Completed Officers Candidate School as a distinguished honored graduate, which is amazing, and holds a master's degree in executive leadership from the University of San Diego, living out in California now with his family. Leadership consultant, he is the author of the Los Angeles Times bestseller, First, Fast, and Fearless. And not only that, also the author of Guts, Greatness Under Tremendous Stress. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Ed, thank you so much for being here. We love to bring on people that matter to us the most, that are who we are at Modern Era Warriors, Integrated Warrior Training. And we make up military, law enforcement, fire, doctors, IT people, right? But it's all those same type of people that want the mindset that you have in your books. And anything else you'd like to share with us about who Ed is?
Well, thanks for the bio. I was getting ready to ask who's that reading about, man. Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here and glad to talk. I love your topic. I think as you talk about first responders, military, all those kind of people in the world, I see ourselves as stewards of society. Kind of shepherds, if you will, and protectors. And that's kind of I think it's an important role in society is have those people that dedicate themselves to, it's looking after others. It's taking care of other people. And there's not enough people doing that in the world today, in a world that can be selfish very quickly. I think the servants, the stewards of society is very important. And to breed that, to continuously get that mindset. And you don't even have to be a first responder, military, police officer. It can be just a mindset as a citizen walking the street. You see someone that needs help, and you step in, not the other person, right? There's a bystander effect and things that happen to people, but you get that mindset, so you're always kind of prepared to do something for someone else and your family and yourself.
Yeah, and that's what we push, right? A Modern Era Warrior, to be a 1% warrior, growing 1% better every day in every way. So that means a few different things for us, what that 1% warrior means, right, at Modern Era Warriors. But that's exactly the people that we want to associate with, right? That want to be part of our group, our gang, our tribe that we have, right? And it doesn't matter. And we're going to get more into the questions in the books, right? But that's you can be Ed, 20-year plus, right? Navy SEAL. Yeah. And you can also be the kids that are growing up that need the same exact mental push, emotional push, the same physical, right? Understanding what it took to be a Navy SEAL and how you not only did it yourself, but trained thousands yourself, right? Afterwards, right? Yeah. There's one thing to master something yourself and then to be able to replicate that, and not just once, but thousands of times as you have as well too. So yeah. Thank you. All right. My first question for you today is from reading the book, right? Is I understand that you had a difficult time retiring from the SEALs and transitioning to the next phase of your life. This led to you writing your first book, First, Fast, Fearless, a Los Angeles Times bestseller. Can you share what was going on at that time in your life and tell us about it?
Well, it's kind of hard sometimes to put in words, but I think once, like you read the bio, I was playing baseball. I was always part of that tribe, that team, that, the whole organization moving as one, as an organism versus an organization. Then I go into the SEAL teams. That's all my life. I spent 9 months out of the year with SEALs traveling on the road or overseas, very little time at home. And I think once that process happened to me, because at one point, and I write about that in Guts, is because I would, first book, I really didn't talk much about it because I was just kind of, grunting through it, right? Get up early, dig deeper, try harder, that kind of mentality. So I realized, I'd kind of lost my father, passed away, my brother, I lost my brother about the same time period. I lost my identity, my tribe, my team. And I just kind of pushed that down and just did that get up early grind. 4:30, I'm grinding on these books. And I told my editor, it's funny because I was talking to McGraw-Hill about this. And after my second book came out, I was like, God, is it just me, or is it every author that goes through like this down period once the book's over? It's like your baby going off, your empty nester, right? Your baby going off to college. And that's kind of how I felt. And that's after the first book. And I went through that whole process. And one of the most depressing times in my life was after the book hit the best-selling list. I just felt lost. I started to realize what I had lost. I'd never really mentally prepared for that. And that's what drove me to Guts, because I just looked back on my life and I said, how can you be, especially in combat and dangerous situations where it's violent, it's scary, all those things, you're not immune to fear just because you're a SEAL, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, or a police officer or anything. So I just dissected what I had done personally and put that in Guts. And I said, this is how I'm going to conduct my life. I'm going to do certain things and break those pieces apart and just kind of put a game plan together. And that's what I do with Guts.
And we're kind of getting into the second question that I had, right? So no, that's okay. That's great, right? So you're helping me lead yourself into the next piece of the question, right? So the first was, look, and again, I understand too. Unfortunately, you lost your father. You lost others in your life too, your brother, and leaving the service, big change, and I have many friends in the military and law enforcement, right? And it's not an easy thing to leave behind. And I've even heard it referred to almost like as you're getting out of prison. Yeah. Right? It's kind of like in a funny way, like it's not prison, right? But it's a bittersweet situation.
Sure.
These are the people that you've been around. This is what you've done. This is what you know, right? And then, of course, obviously, when you're losing extremely close people in your life, like your father at the same time, right? And I've lost my brother very, very early in life too. So these are hard things to overcome. You wrote the first book, and then ultimately, my second question, the follow-up was, after writing that, right, what was the next thing that led into Guts? So what I heard you say basically is you started writing down the things that you do, right? Not just getting up at 4:30 because I know I need to be disciplined. I'm a Navy SEAL, right? But then you started categorizing the good things that are in this book, right? That people need to learn and instill. You started putting those things down in life. Hey, what have I done? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
It is. What did I do? Because if you take anything, you can break down the pieces. Okay, once you break down the pieces, you start to figure out the whole. And it went from diet to being outside, physicality, nutrition, sleeping, right? Mind training. How do you actually stop the I call it awfulizing, right? The ruminating. That's what happens, especially when people have fear, especially this COVID. I mean, COVID was a perfect example. By the way, the book I had just sent the book to the publisher probably about a month before COVID hit. And when COVID hit, people getting toilet paper and guns and, just going, losing their mind. I'm like, hey, I actually got it back from McGraw-Hill to put some little bit of examples in there for COVID, because it was kind of all just unfolding in front of me. People getting depressed, people were just drinking more, doing all kinds of things that are just harmful that I cover in Guts there. And, it was interesting to see how that book was unfolding right in front of me.
And look, not that COVID's not real, it's real, right? But fear is a big piece that people have in their lives, whether it's COVID, and we just saw COVID take a huge piece of that of people, right, in their lives for 18 months and locking themselves in, and maybe, we can argue back and forth what people should be or shouldn't be doing, right? But I would argue if you do a lot of the lessons learned in the book, right, and you live on a path towards self-mastery, right? Yep. It includes understanding then fear holds many people back. How can someone make fear a welcome guest? It's part of your book.
Well, we do fear inoculation, right? I mean, the first time you go into SEAL teams, you don't jump out of an airplane, at 30,000 feet. Because, we jump at 30,000 feet, oxygen's 40 below zero. Yep. You might have 200 pounds of equipment. You barely fall out of the plane. You don't do that your first jump. It's inoculation, right? You take steps to go and you build an actionable plan. You take those steps to inoculate yourself in fear. It also has a lot to do with the mind and how the mind, because fear tells you that the event is actually not happening, right? If you're scared of something, means it's not going on right now. Because if a lion's chasing you, you're past that fear, that ruminating. Your brain has stopped thinking and you're doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of things I use with fear, as you see in the book, is that I could run my fears away. If I get nervous about something or whatever, I mean, you have to use the body, because fear is a physical event. It's not just in your mind. Because if you notice, like I used to be a tracker, and I did this Apache tracking course, and it was really incredible. Lived out in the woods with them, and the tracker could show you the moment a person got lost. And how do you know that? Like, well, see, he starts running right here, and then he starts getting lost faster. So the body has a natural desire to move when you get nervous or scared. So use your body, just use it as a tool, and a reverse engineering tool. You get nervous when you get up. When you get nervous, your body reacts, and then use your body to take that anxiety away from yourself. That's all in there. I hope I laid it out. I mean, I know the book is a little kooky, which I wanted to be.
No, the book's not kooky.
Well, I'm weird.
The book has like lessons learned, right? So look, it's awareness is the first premise, is like what I love to refer to it as, right? So I have to be aware and understand that I have an issue, right? Without being aware, I don't know that I have the issue. That I don't know that I am even fearful, perhaps, right? Yeah. So understanding that we all have fears, even if you're a Navy SEAL, even if you're that police officer, right? Everybody has them, and it's about how we deal with them. Not just mentally, like you said too, right? So I refer to it as the big four: body, being, balance, and business, and having areas of our life that we need to work within, right? And so that's what I believe to hear when I'm hearing when you say we have fear and we're going to work on not just mentally, but we're working on the physicality of it too. And again, from reading your book, I did read that piece on being the tracker as well, right? Yeah. And also embracing positive self-talk, positive language, some yoga and things of that nature too, that I see not just one or two Navy SEAL friends that I have, right? Too, that many people have put into their lives as well. Right. Tell me about the X and training with live ammo in the SEALs, and how does someone not in the SEALs apply these same lessons or similar type lessons?
Well, the X really refers to the moment of contact with the enemy, if you will, right? If you're getting ambushed and you're on that X, right? You're right there in the spot where that's the moment of truth. And the SEAL teams, we train to the X, but we actually train to the Z. We train every mission, every when we do training, we train harder than any mission we've ever been on, right? Sometimes we just train we're overrun, we're running with hundreds of pounds of just dragging each other. So you train way past that moment of truth. And I have a story in there about a chief and I won't ruin that story, but this chief was shot 27 times and won the gunfight and walked to the helicopter himself, because he had done that thousands of times in training. Right. So you never train to lose. You never train to fail. You always train past what is required of you and even further. And people in their lives, they can push. Even if you're out doing a workout, you see a lot of people quit a minute before, just right before the end of the workout. Right. That's the moment the lessons are being taught to you. Is that, okay, like if you're jiu-jitsu or ground fighting or whatever you're doing, that last minute, that last 30 seconds where you're smoked and you're just burnt, that's the part that's where the training counts. Everything else is just fluff to get you to that moment, and you train past that. And I think it goes with anyone in the world is to create that different relationship with that discomfort and pushing and really finding your boundaries. And it creates a sense that when you do that, in our job, it's a dangerous world, and arrogance and it will kill you.
Get you killed.
You'll be dead real quick. Because you have to understand your limitations, but those limitations you have to actually understand where they are, but they're not here. They're a little bit further than you think, and you push to find those, and then you can be honest with yourself and what you train to in your life, and it leads to a satisfying life. Everyone wants to accomplish something,
and we want to accomplish more
and more,
and pushing us to that next level as well.
Even if it's personal relationships, I struggled. I thought I didn't have but like two emotions, happy or sad, right? I'm pissed off, maybe three, until I explored them. And I talk in the very beginning of when I talk about, one of the chapters I talk about, they wear dresses but they don't dance, and And it's a funny story. And
So I won't comment on that too. When I first started reading, I'm like, who's he hanging out with? There's all these other special forces friends of his and stuff. So I'm good.
Well, it's funny because it's a British thing, and I was in British Special Forces for a couple of years. I was actually with the task force with them, and these guys are the bravest dudes you can find on the street, but they won't dance, and it's a very strange because of vulnerability. So most of us struggle not with physical courage, if you will, but we struggle with those kind of vulnerability. And I kind of created a list for myself. I call it the effort list, right? And you see in there. And things that I want to do to push myself past my limitations and my personal growth, if you will. And as crazy as that might sound, as evolving as a person, I had lost that piece. And that is the piece now that I've been very much working on, is that personal growth, my relationship with other people, kind of expressing myself. Because as a professional speaker, I tell you, I was a robot, dude. I realized when I did a couple of films, I'm like, oh my God, people are paying me to do this. I suck. I was very honest with myself. That this is awful. And it's because I was used to just being a kind of a robot, systematic and stuff. So I had to work on that. I'm still working on it right now. I'm probably a C student at it right now. Maybe I can get up to a B pretty soon. But it's just all these things you want to do in life to fulfill your life and be a better person and happier person.
Well, but you, again, continue to take whatever skills you have in certain areas and, again, bringing them to a higher level as well, right? And that's the nature of being a Navy SEAL. I like to refer to the Cooper color codes, right? White, yellow, orange, red. But what our self-defense, our reality-based self-defense, we like to push to gray. And it's not talked about. It's not the Cooper's position, right? But it's the training of that Navy SEAL, that military guy, the FBI agent, right? People that do what I do in the gym too, about pushing yourself from red to gray, meaning I am fighting, maybe not shot 27 times, right? But we're fighting, we're on our feet. It's that last 30 seconds of the fight. They're still coming at you with knives, and I can't go black. Right. So the fight, that very last little bit, is to prevent yourself from go to gray to black, because we can't operate in the black.
And when you train to fight, like that's a great example. I mean, you're trained to fight, you train past that X, and you keep training. And it also, my son, he's been in jiu-jitsu, judo, Muay Thai, and my wife at first was like, oh my God, don't get him in there, because he's actually 14, he's 6'1", so his leg kick is absolutely vicious.
One of the best BJJ guys, if you're tall and thin.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's just wicked. I don't even want a part of him. But I'm like, it's not. The more he trains, the less he's won in fights. Because the person that trains realizes they can be knocked out, they can be whipped real quick. But when he's in a situation where he's in maybe a verbal confrontation where he has to stand up for himself and have maybe at work or wherever he's at in life, that amygdala doesn't get triggered. Because a guy can stand in front of him and be yelling, screaming, pissed off, nose flaring. You can see the anger. But it doesn't trigger you.
Trigger.
Because you're good to go.
And that's
that
where
guy doesn't know what you know.
And that's where awareness comes in, right? Yeah. The first premise, and breath work, and being able to remain calm under fire, right? Being able to remain calm under fire.
That's it.
Why is it important to develop the first strike mindset, have that positive language, the winning mindset, right? As a kind of a follow-up of the X conversation that we just had, right? And the habit of winning second place isn't good enough.
Yeah. That's personal excellence, right? I mean, we all seek excellence in some point of our life, and obviously we're going to lose in life. We're going to occasionally lose, but the first strike mindset is to take the initiative. If you look at any fight, every time we do a mission, we evaluate three major criteria: surprise, speed, and violence of action, right? So if you lose one of those pieces, the threat level and the danger goes up. And the surprise, the initiative, right, is taking the initiative. The initiative in life is one of the most key things, because once you make that choice, your brain loves the choice that you made, right? It just starts to fall in love because you own it. And ownership is critical to anything in life to be successful. It's
showing up.
Showing up. Just, 90% of the job is showing up half the time. But it's to take the initiative even in doubt. And that was one of the things, some of the stuff that are in the insurgencies in Iraq, especially, there were times I was tasked with things that I had no idea what I was doing. No one could give me a mission statement. I know it sounds crazy, and people listen to that and go, what? You deployed as an assault team and you were starting to do this.
They're not in Iraq or Afghanistan. It's a different world.
Yeah, and they would just say, "Go forth and do great things." Well, that's not really a mission statement, and they knew that we would hit the ground, figure things out very quickly, and take the initiative and do something. Start moving in a direction, because like any fight, if you have the initiative, the other person's on the defense, and it's hard. Some people can do it, but it's hard to fight on the defense when you're reacting to someone else. You're the cause of the effect, not the effect that was caused by something else.
And I think that starts a lot, right, with understanding our why. You talk about it in the book too, right? Understanding purpose in life, having passion, and understanding your principles, what the hell you stand for, right? In order to have front sight focus. I skipped a question, right? So it's good. It fits in here as well too, right? So how can someone have front sight focus, right, and be present, right? Applying that to everything and everything that someone might do on a daily basis. Again, that's not a SEAL. You get hit to the ground running. You're focused on what this is the first thing that I need to do, right? This is the next thing I need to do, and then you're going to build from there, right? And so 80% plan is better than no plan, right?
100%. Yeah. Well, front sight focus. If people listening, if you refer to say a pistol, and you're shooting a pistol, if you're shooting a target, the target's blurry. The front sight, the physical front sight of your post has to be very clear to you. That's where your eye can only focus on one point at a time. So if you focus on the target at a long distance, you're going to miss by a lot if that little blur in front of you. So the focus in life, and if you look at everything we have in life, social media, everything around you steals your focus continuously. And the focus is a muscle. And the more you can learn to train that muscle, meditate. People meditate. I use meditation just as a tool for accomplishment sometimes. It's not necessarily a spiritual thing, but to be able to control your mind, to be able to stay on target, think about something and dig deep into that cave of something that you're working in. And a lot of people are losing that skill. But to be able to stay focused, stay on target is critical for success.
Ed, is that something as far as what's something that Ed has done in the past from reading the book? I know you got into some yoga yourself too, right? I don't know how much that is or is not pushed as a formal exercise for SEALs or not, as far as yoga or any meditation, or you're kind of doing it, but you don't tell people that it's breath or meditation, right? So very well could be.
Most of it was you didn't say anything about it, but as the training and readiness officer, and readiness was everything else blanket statement. So and resiliency fell under me for a while, and I didn't know anything about all this. I'd meditated for years. Just I was in Southeast Asia, kind of fell in love with the culture. But we started learning that even being able to focus and do meditation, yoga type things, you're better at your job, and it makes you a better operator. So I learned a lot from the experts that I hired as contractors and stuff. It was like 15 under me, and just kind of explaining a lot of these things. And I think the culture eventually it seeped in. It's like when we told SEALs, for instance, that post-traumatic stress was not a mental disorder; it was a physical break of the brain. Oh, okay, I'll go talk to the doc. So you had to.
Then it's okay. Then it's okay, right? Just how
your legs broke. Go to a doctor. Okay, got it. So we started implementing these things in a language that they could get past their belief system long enough to let it absorb. And they go, oh, okay, I get it.
So I asked the question, right? Because believe it or not, even in my gym, I can get a question from somebody like, what is that stuff? Is it religious? And they literally don't know, right? I mean, so for us, our breath and meditation and our movement is not religious. It's part of what we do for our physical workout, our mental and our emotional well-being as well. So it's yoga is not just movement, it's breath, it's meditation, it's movement. And that allows you to work the mind and the body, right? The mind and the body.
I think my next book, I'm actually drafted it out, I think, has a lot to do with that spirit and that soul, if you would, because that's overlooked, especially in the warfare community. It's overlooked a lot of times that people just say, you're just a hard ass, just go get after it. But cultures, centuries of cultures that are warrior culture really nurse that spirit, that soul, because that's the fuel that keeps with you when you're doing hard things.
Well, I can't wait to get a hold of that one, because that one is unique. There's other books on the market from other SEALs and people in the service, right, and military, et cetera, right. But I have not read much out there from the community on spirituality. and what that really means. And that's amazing. I'm in a third book. We talked just a little bit before we came on too. So having a second book for people is something, let alone a third book.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that drives me, I just had, well, I work with kids. I stopped doing business stuff mostly, and I work with underserved kids, foster youth, juvenile courts, probation. My organization now, I got a national program starting in October. We're going to a pilot program. I'm very excited about it. But you know, I've been working with a lot of people about these issues, and I think the piece that I might have missed was that soul, that component. And yesterday, I had someone, and I just have random people send me letters. And a lady sent me an email and talked about. She's like, "Oh my God, it just changed her life." And you know, she was on a plane and she was listening to it on Audible, and she listened to it again on the way back home from her long flight overseas, wherever she's going. And just was sending all this stuff. It just, you know, something clicked in there, and I hope it clicks with a lot of people that it just, okay, if this, you know, hard ass, steely eyed killer, if you will, can say it, then, you know, we can all say it. Right?
We can all say it.
So it helps people, and if it helps people, that helps me. You know, helps the healing process for me, if you will. I mean, to do good in life and you know, help people along their journey, man.
Perfect. All right, we're getting close on time, and as always, I run behind. I'm going to ask you to try to get through these two questions quick.
Okay.
How can people manage their daily dose of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, right, by limiting at the same time cortisol, right? And these are, you know, a lot of daily things. You want to maybe just name several for some people and what they need to be doing.
Yeah, working out, right? Physicality, right? Oxytocin, hug your loved one, right? Serotonin. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do in your life. Get outside, get some sunshine.
Yep.
Mental thoughts. When you have mental thoughts, the word you say comes out of your mouth, goes in your ears, processes in your brain, creates a thought, creates an emotion, which creates either cortisol or a dose, something else. Endorphins, a natural painkiller. Running. Why people get runner's high? Because they get endorphins. And all these things you can use, and I use for my own mental toughness training, if you would, because once you get these feel good, these pleasurable feelings in your body,
you want them again and again.
You want them again, and then that's when you cement those ideas that you want to do in life into your brain with those
which should help the discipline, right? Showing up daily be easier. That's because right. You know that you're actually enjoying it and it's good for you as well.
You change the relationship with things you didn't like it in the beginning.
Yeah. One of those things was fasting that we talked about too. So I wanted to share with everyone. I know that's something that you regularly do as well. Something that I usually promote as well into our daily life. It's also will help you need less sleep, function better, hopefully reduce diabetes, keep weight off, right? And AC1 down, less cancer, things of that nature in our life too. Yeah. Please explain the importance. This is a huge one. If you're not in a SEAL community or the service like I was in and have friends, right, they don't understand what it is. So what is a swim buddy in the service? And how can someone apply that to maybe like my spouse, my friend, my coworker, my whatever, my teammate in my gym?
I can sum it up. Okay, others focused. Others focus is something human beings are designed for. Yeah. And SEAL teams, from the very beginning when you start training, you do not go anywhere with someone not 6 feet away from you. And we understand it makes you braver, stronger, smarter, it makes you be able to solve more complex problems. It also gives them eyes on accountability, right? And if you learn to be others focused, it takes stress and anxiety from you. The one model I wish I'd have written in the first book is I said, mission man, me. What it really, when I thought about it more, it's mission others me. It's the mom leadership model. When you focus on someone or something better and other than yourself, you can deal with a lot more stress, fear, anxiety than ever in life. And that is probably what kept me in combat as a leader without, not panicking and freaking out and just going into the all-flozing world, because I had men and women that worked for me that were counting on me to stand up to them. So others focused.
Awesome.
And that's it. Don't go at it alone. Don't be isolated in this world, and don't go at things alone. There's a lot of people out there, and your swim buddy can always change. Your swim buddy doesn't have to always be the same person, but look towards other people and give to other people.
Don't go it alone. It's a big piece of right, understanding coaches, mentors, communities of practice too, and having that swim buddy next to you along the way. Awesome.
Yeah.
Last couple of questions. During your career, when asked by others, what did you do for a living? What were examples that you told people? So whatever. I don't know where you're at what point in your life, if you got tired at some point, but
Yeah.
someone, go ahead.
Well, before 9/11 and really before the movies and all the books and stuff come out, I mean, we just said either in the military or we just made something up. Hey, I'm a tail gunner at a NASA spaceship. It's like, but I didn't until I retired from here, even where I'm living now. I just didn't tell my neighbors. I didn't want the questions. I just I'm in the military, whatever. I just kept it to myself. Just kind of kept it quiet. It's not that I was super secret or any of that. I just didn't want to go through it over and over and again, Sure. And plus people have misconceptions of what a SEAL is, and I'd rather them just kind of figure out who I am before they thought put me in a box.
Who we are as a person before they judge.
But then if they piss me off, I'd tell them who I was.
All right, I got one, maybe two other questions here because I might have to throw in a follow-up one to the dresses, to the special forces. All right, so but I'm going to go with this one first. If you could have one superhero power, what would it be? Yeah,
I think after some of my experiences recently and some of my own healing, if you will, and finding my soul again, it would be to heal. That's it's a marvelous thing. I think a lot of people have helped me kind of find my own path in life, and I'm at an age now, I'm 53 years old. I think it's time, and I know it sounds strange for people that, well, you've been serving all your life. Yeah, not in this capacity. I think it's my turn to give back, and especially working with kids that have severe trauma. And I just, if I could heal people, I definitely would do that. And that's what I'm attempting to do with the stuff that I'm doing for kids and other people.
That's a great place to be. All right, last question then, since it's in the book, the Special Forces, the Brits, right, too. So I'm going to throw it out there then. And one extra bonus question for today. If every time you heard music, what would you do? If you had to do one or the other, would you prefer to dance always or sing? Every time music came on, you heard it. Are you dancing or are you singing?
I'm dancing. I suck at singing, man. Nobody wants to hear me sing. But hey, on my effort list, actually on the USS Midway, there's a huge, the aircraft carrier here in San Diego. There's a massive concert on it. And one of the stipulations for me to help with this fundraiser on this concert is I got on stage with a 17-piece band, sang a song, and my son played his guitar on the stage.
That is awesome.
It was hard.
Guitar player too.
I probably lost more money than I raised.
Awesome. Hey, Ed, our time is here. Our 30-minute coffee talk. Thank you so much. I want to make sure that this is one of his couple books that he has out there, right? And so Guts. The title, by the way, is just unbelievable, right? Yeah. Greatness under tremendous stress. Guts, an acronym that the military has, right? But never heard this acronym, so I don't know if this is something that you created yourself or over time. It is an amazing acronym, right? So whether you're an adult, a SEAL, a kid that you're working with, what else would you like to share with everybody with regard to any foundation or where they could go to get your books, things of that nature? Ed?
I'm a board member of the Navy SEAL Fund, FUND. There's multiple organizations out there. That's a great organization. I also was just helped myself personally with a retreat that changed my life. It's called Vets Solution, like Vets, VETS Solutions, and .org. And it's an awesome, incredible organization that they're saving people's lives. They're doing stuff that is unimaginable to American people. So, Vet Solution or the Navy SEAL Fund. I love both those, and I work with them closely.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you for sharing your time today, sharing your career of experience, right? Who you are and where you're going as far as what you want to do and extra, the next pieces of your life with kids and everybody too, right? And how other people can get the books, and look forward to a third book coming out on that spirituality piece too. So I want to thank you for being here. Thank you from the Modern Era Warriors community. This will be posted to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, our Facebook group, our online university. I'll share it with your community as well on your Facebook page as well. Then from there, you'll be able to put it wherever you need to. I'll just ask you to stand just 1 second, but thanks everyone for being here. Ed, thank you for being here. Appreciate everybody.